Hey, what's up you guys? This is Junior Trader and in this video, let's take a look at the trade for the upcoming week on Nvidia stock. How are we planning to trade this thing? Because Nvidia is setting up for a really good trade for this particular week. I already talked about this with my members on my Patreon and on members only YouTube videos. And there are many other stocks for great plays this upcoming week that will be setting up in the market. If you want to check all of that out, check this video out of mine that I have just done for the members. This week will be a great week, guys. So get ready. All right. It will be a beginning and well, much more details I have talked in that video. I can't give you everything here. This video is only for Nvidia. You gotta be the member to gain much more value and make a lot more money. You gotta be a member, guys. All right. So details are in the description of this video. And let's get back over on Nvidia here. Before going further though, as always, none of this is any financial advice, only for education purposes, just sharing my opinion. Please do your own thing. So we'll get to this drawing over here. That is a potential trade for this week in just a moment. I'll explain about that. But first, I wanna explain you that yes, we are looking at a bullish trade on Nvidia and a good one this week. We also have Nvidia's earnings. Okay, so Nvidia is in the price action. I'll give you a scenario where as if things fail because earnings are really important. Okay, but where will the things really break on Nvidia? But before that, how are we looking at in the price action? So let's take a look at from the weekly interval. All right, now on the weekly interval, Nvidia so far has been able to hold this $170 through any means. Okay, we did come down, did find somehow a support there. Okay, then it tried multiple weeks. This week was a very bad week in the midway, but however, by the time it closed with a really good support here. Now the way the last week has closed, even though Nvidia has been rejecting still at that 194 and $195 area that previously I have told you is a very high short seller zone this time, and earnings may be the catalyst, but before that as well we might break through. Okay, I'll tell you how to trade this thing, but first let's take a look at the price action. We are here on the weekly interval setting up for an upside. Okay, Nvidia is not set up to start this week to the downside. That's not the case. We are set up to do an upside on Nvidia in the price action. So let's get to the daily interval. So previously Nvidia has, as I just explained, been rejecting at that 194 area where high short sellers have been present all the time. Now, and that's what I have been telling here on my videos and to my members on Nvidia specifically, that Nvidia is your just either a multi-day or a day trade for now. Okay, this may be soon turning now a swing. We are right setting up for there, but the point is that Nvidia below 184 has been in the weakness, above 184 has been fine, but it has been mostly sideways, which means you can't really do more than a day trade or a multi-day trade. Okay, you can't go swing because you just it's gonna make you fed up, right? Because it's just going then sideways. However, this time it's different. Weekly interval has shown enough strength for an upside breakout, and also this 200 days moving average has been constantly giving it that underneath of support, and that coincided this time with that very zone that Nvidia has been holding for months here, guys, $170. All put that in place here in the confluence. You get my point, right? Things are setting up on the bullish side. Earnings can be the catalyst. Now let me tell you one thing right away. If earnings gaps down Nvidia's price action, earnings are on Wednesday, guys. Okay, big day. Okay, if earnings gaps down on Nvidia, it will only break Nvidia if Nvidia loses $170. Okay, if Nvidia still stays somehow above 170, it will be fine. If only and only if it loses 170, that's only when we have a break of the structure. But we have the news, Nvidia has just done a deal with another big cap. Okay, and that's Meta, right? um so, and Nvidia has been, here you go, right? The Nvidia and Meta, unsurprisingly, Nvidia is one in the news again with an announced partnership with fellow Magnificent Seven member Meta. All right. Partnership will enable the large-scale deployment of Nvidia's CPUs and millions of Nvidia Blackwell and Rubin GPUs, as well as the integration of Nvidia Ethernet switches for Meta's Facebook Open Switching System platform. Anyways, so earnings most likely may not disappoint. And look, anything can happen through the earnings, but we may not see a disappointment with Nvidia. Price action has been stabilizing, no problem until we stay above 170. Now, how do we trade, right? This week, the trade of the week for Nvidia stock. Now, if earnings makes you uncomfortable, you don't want to risk it, you gotta size down either before the earnings and have a partial position running if you're willing to tolerate some volatility and complete break of the structure as well. And or if you have confidence in the earnings, you keep this trade running through the earnings. But remember, no one knows what's going to happen through the earnings, so price action may reverse as well. So you gotta accordingly be willing to go in this play or through the earnings with that in mind, that you may lose everything on this trade as well, right? Because things may flip. So either you get out before the earnings, so you still have 3 days because earnings will be in the Wednesdays post earnings, right? So you still have 3 days of this trade. And if you want to carry some of the position through the earnings, then you can carry some of the position and size down the remaining before the earnings. So the play is, there are two set of plays. Now from here itself, a play can continue, but also this $184 level is above which we will be even fine to start this week. Okay, pretty much it's a buy. Okay, let's get to the hourly interval to identify, do we have a room for a pullback? Okay, let's identify proper areas for that. Any pullback until 188, no problem. Okay, use that opportunity for a buy position on this thing. If we lose 188, then you can look for hold of 185. Okay, until there also Nvidia will be just fine. Technically until 185 and around 184, as long as we are above that, your overall bias in this trade is still bullish. You don't want to buy the blindly, let the price action stabilize if it comes down in the pullback at those levels, but your high likelihood is to the upside, to stabilization high likely will happen, and you can buy this thing. So let's little bit, I want to, this is actually technically another zone as well, that if you, so the thing is that with Nvidia, as even if it loses, there are two type of trades that could be taken here. This is, let's talk about this, the one that I just mentioned to you guys first. So pretty much this is all your entry zone on Nvidia here, right? Until 185 or anything, or if pullback doesn't happen, you still are entering the position here on the, for the swing side on this thing. And just shoot for the fences, guys. At least the highs are possible, 212. Okay, in this play, provided earnings go smooth. Okay, we don't break, and Nvidia is looking to the upside. So 212 is most likely the the reach. And if earnings are really great, investors are really happy, this thing can gap up and shoot even above 212, the all-time highs of its so far price action. And stop loss in this case, my recommendation would be that, sure, you can have a stop loss below 184, but if you're doing a swing on this, and you know you actually do it at here, this particular one, okay, have a stop loss below 184 around, and because below that it's better you wait. This is your first style of a trade. I'll give you another style, which is more of the longevity type of a trade. Provided you don't want to worry about earnings, you can have a wider stop loss as well that you would like, and that would be, let's move it on the side here. Okay, this one, the next style of a trade on Nvidia that you can take, as I said, provided you are willing to have a little bit of a wider drawdown tolerance, and that is right up from here. You have a stop loss though, like a hard stop loss around below 170 area. All right, and don't build through this position blindly. Like if it loses 184, don't build through the position blindly, but don't trade it bearish. You can still continue to a little bit size down the position, and when we get closer and closer to like 200 days moving average and or 170, we might not get 170. Actually, we might just stabilize at 200 days, slowly and slowly build through the position here. So you can even a little bit do it right down over here. The reason I'm still putting that green bar or the start of the green at 184, because that's the really great place to be building position above that. But in this case, as if you're willing to have a wider stop loss, you can even a little bit, I wish there was a way that I can put in three style here, like three boxes here in this particular tool, but this trading view tool only allows two boxes. So I'm just trying to explain you here. So, but you can even build your position through like even until like 176, even if it dips lower, provided you are willing to have a little bit of a wider drawdown tolerance. But then in this case, your stop loss is can be below like either 200 days moving average or $170, provided we don't gap down below 170 after the earnings. So it's very important. So either if you're looking to play small, right, start a small position and you're willing to even tolerate through the earnings, all right, a bigger position. Then when I say bigger position, like you are not sizing down any through the earnings, if you're preferring that, then you trade with this particular style with a wider stop loss, but slowly and slowly you are building the position in the expectation that you are holding the full position size whatever you are building through the earnings. And but then this is what you will use as a wider stop loss area. Okay, but if you are trying to play a heavy position and you are not wanting to hold much through the earnings and you want to size down beforehand if the things get a little bit dicey, and or also you want to size down beforehand, then you go with this particular style of trade here, this one where you have a tighter stop loss below 184. And even if because we lose that, then you are just waiting, let the earnings happen first, and because you will be fully out in this case by once we start to lose 184 $183 area. Okay, and then you are only building this position until 185 area and 184 top line, and then 3 days just swing it to the upside, and then you can carry on some of your remaining position through the earnings if you like, and as the price action is looking strong, and then wait for the gap up. And also the thing is that, guys, even if until earnings price is already at 195, I don't see how it can gap below even 176. It's very rare for Nvidia to do that. I do think we may see a surprise to the upside, and Nvidia so far and always has been a savior to the market. Okay, it has always. Remember back over here, when Nvidia's initial run was also even starting like down from here, right? Like back here, there was so much talk of recession and all, and many other big cap stocks were going down, but Nvidia saved the whole market, and Nvidia has done this many times. This week could be the one that will turn around many stocks. Anyways, that's all I want to talk about in this video. There are two style of trades you can do on Nvidia. All right, there are many other stocks I have talked on my members only videos as well. If you want to check that out, you will find the details in my members only section. And with that, I'll see you in my next videos. Take care. Bye.